Ethereum has just smashed a huge new record for daily transactions. But here's the thing. This isn't just about a bigger number. It's a massive signal that Ethereum is truly evolving, becoming the core settlement layer for the entire digital economy. So let's break down exactly what that means.
Now, before we jump in, I want to be super clear. This whole explainer, all this analysis, it's grounded in the solid, authentic research carried out by engineer Abdulrahman Mahmoud. He's a principal IT and security consultant and a regional security expert, and we're here to walk you through his findings.
So here's what we're going to cover. We'll start with that new record. Then we'll really unpack this critical shift to becoming a settlement layer. After that, we'll see how this is supercharging DeFi, how it's starting to challenge traditional finance, and finally, what this all signals for the future.
All right, first up, let's talk about the record-breaking number that kicked this whole conversation off and what it really tells us about this new chapter for Ethereum.
Here it is, the number that's been turning heads, approximately 2.88 million. But, what does that actually represent?
That's nearly 2.9 million transactions processed in a single day. And look, this isn't just a good day for the network. We're talking about a new all-time high, absolutely shattering previous records. And as you can see from this chart, this wasn't just some random one-off event. Not at all. This record is part of a very consistent upward trend. This is what sustained growth looks like, and it's a clear sign of a network that's not just getting bigger, but a whole lot more efficient.
Okay, now this is the part you really need to pay attention to. In the past, a massive surge in activity like this would have sent transaction fees, what we call gas fees, to the moon. But this time, they stayed relatively low. And that, right there, is the key. It proves the network can handle huge volume without becoming crazy expensive, which signals a massive leap forward in efficiency.
And that efficiency is really at the heart of the bigger story here. See, this record isn't just about volume. It's solid evidence of Ethereum's evolution into something much more profound, a global settlement layer.
So, what on earth is a settlement layer? Well, think of it like the foundation of a skyscraper. It's the absolute bedrock of the system. It doesn't handle every single little interaction, but it's where everything becomes final. It provides the ultimate security and acts as the single source of truth for all activity.
So here's how this new world works. Most of the action, the stuff you and I do, the trades, using apps, it's actually happening on what we call Layer 2 networks. These Layer 2s, like Arbitrum or Optimism, are incredibly clever. They bundle or batch thousands and thousands of our transactions together. Then they just submit a single tiny proof of all that activity back down to the Ethereum mainnet. All the mainnet has to do is verify that one proof, and boom, it provides final security and settlement for everything.
And this quote right here just makes it all click. It's actually a lot like how the traditional financial world works, right? You have these super fast execution layers that handle all the high-frequency trading, but the final record of who owns what gets finalized on a slower, more secure settlement layer. In this new model, the Layer 2s are those fast execution layers, and Ethereum has become that final trusted settlement system for the whole digital world.
So, what does this new architecture actually mean in practice? Let's take a look at the immediate impact it's having on Ethereum's native financial ecosystem, what we all know as decentralized finance, or DeFi.
I mean, let's face it, Ethereum is the undisputed center of the universe for DeFi. It's the home for billions and billions in digital assets. Everything from stablecoins, which are basically digital dollars, to decentralized exchanges, massive lending and borrowing markets, and now even tokenized real-world assets like bonds and property.
And with all this extra capacity, the magic ingredient of DeFi, what people call composability, gets a massive upgrade. Think of it like this. All these different financial apps can plug into each other like Lego blocks. Higher capacity means those connections become faster, cheaper, and way more reliable, which lets developers build even more powerful and sophisticated financial tools. Okay, let's zoom out for a second. With this kind of scale and newfound efficiency, Ethereum isn't just some niche crypto thing anymore. It's stepping into the ring as a real, legitimate competitor to the traditional global financial system. And when you put them side by side, the difference is just, wow, look at this. Settlement on Ethereum, we're talking minutes. In the old system, it can take days. The network is always on, 24/7, 365, not just during banking hours. And it's open to literally anyone with an internet connection, breaking down all those old geographic barriers. Plus, every single transaction is publicly auditable, offering a level of transparency that legacy systems just can't touch.
And look, this isn't just tech speak for the sake of it. This has huge real-world consequences. This new infrastructure makes things like international payments way faster and cheaper, and it provides the kind of security and transparency that big financial institutions need to finally get on board.
So what's the big takeaway here? What does this all signal for the future of finance and the internet? Let's connect the dots.
The bottom line is, this record isn't really the end of the story. It's the beginning. It tells us that the ecosystem is finally growing up. It's mature enough to handle mass adoption, from everyday people all the way up to the world's biggest banks. It's ready to host amazing new products that bridge the old and new financial worlds. And it stands as a real, scalable, and efficient rival to the systems we've been using for decades.
Which leaves us with one last big question to think about. When you look at all this evidence, the scale, the security, the global reach, are we actually witnessing Ethereum become the fundamental financial plumbing for the entire internet?
That wraps up our main analysis. And as promised in our intelligence briefing format, we're now going to provide the source materials for anyone who wants to dive even deeper into the research.
You can see all the research links right here on screen. The evidence is pretty clear. A fundamental shift is underway. Thanks so much for joining us to break it all down.